The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences, but some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Are you traumatized?
Oh, hi. Today, I had to wait so long that I'm getting ready to do a review of a TMNT rip-off video game. Because I know this ain't no Princess and the Frog styled quest. If you want to move over Mario and Donkey Kong and Kirby and Klonoa, etc., maybe we could try this game called Battletoads. As I know that this year is the 30th anniversary of Battlemaniacs, as I know it's very, very interesting. It's just a platforming beat-em-up video game that got released on June 7th, 1993 in North America. And the following month in... All I'm getting is that... Wait, where was I? Let me get this out of the way. I understood that this game, which got released in the United Kingdom on October 14th, 1993, and also Japan on January 7th, 1994, was ported on the Sega Master System, which was only released exclusively in Brazil in the month on June 19th, 1994. It was also released around the same time that Battletoads and Double Dragon came out. Even though this game came out on December 1st, 1993, and a year later in Europe on July 10th, 1994, the game is very, very simple. Well, in the first game, 3 Toad warriors called the Battletoads, even though 2 of them are home, Rats and Zitz, embark on a mission to defeat the evil Dark Queen and her plan to rescue their kidnapped friends. Pimple, who is their 3rd member of their team, and Princess Angelica. Even though this game was developed in response to the interest in the TMNT franchise, it received mostly positive reviews. Even though it won 7 awards in the 1991 Nintendo Power Awards, it later got included in Rare's 2015 Xbox One retrospective compilation, Rare Replay. This game is quite very interesting, as it released some sort of direct sequel called Battlemaniacs, where most of its levels are remixedly enhanced from the original game, featuring similar mechanics and gameplay styles. Even though it's mostly about Rash and Pipple trying to rescue Zitz and Michiko on a quest to stop Silas Volkmeyer and the evil Dark Queen from ruling over the world as an act of revenge on what they did to them from a long time ago. I know, like its first one, many people praise this game for its varied gameplay and music, but they criticize the lack of originality and high difficulty. It's quite interesting that we ended up getting a standalone sequel called Battletoads and Double Dragon The Ultimate Team, which is mostly about the Toads teaming up with Billy and Jimmy Lee, who are 2 young martial arts experts, that they are on a battle to defeat the Dark Queen and a rogues gallery of villains, and the only way they can save the military is they need to neutralize her giant spaceship Colossus against an army of rats, pigs, and snakes to get this job done. Even though it would spawn also another instrument called Super Battletoads, which took crazy extremes of violence and gore that it wasn't destined for home consoles for some reason. Even though I had no idea why this time the Toads have to brawl some aliens and rodents on 6 levels to save the universe from the Dark Queen, which is basically they're trying to break the 4th wall when it comes to having a signature attack, as customary for the series, what players can knock enemies towards the screen. Yeah, we did end up getting a 2020 reboot, only exclusive to probably it's only available to, possibly Windows and Xbox One platforms. Even though, speaking of Windows, I understood that the animation of that 2020 reboot looks nothing like a beat-em-up video game, and more like a rejected Adult Swim cartoon gone wrong. Speaking of that, I didn't understand what this game is like. As I know, I'd pictured this as I could imagine. I'd imagined Battletoads as some sort of a video game that is basically a spiritual predecessor to Ed, Ed and Eddie, which was a cartoon that I saw when I was a kid. And if you mix Ed, Ed and Eddie with Amphibia, I have something way more interesting than what I could imagine. You know, Battletoads is basically a spiritual predecessor to Amphibia. What I understood about why I saw this cartoon from a long time ago, I'd say it's all about the Powerpuff Girls in Disney form battling some sort of evil helmet monster called the Core from destroying the multiverse. Even though Battletoads is a troop codified to the whole multiverse situation like in Spider-Verse, that applies to Our House and Ghost of Molly McGee. And most notably, the new Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur cartoon series. But I understood that I also saw Keeper as well. Well, and She-Ra, the Princesses of Power. But I can imagine that something felt off about its animation art style. The way I see something painted black on a black background, let me just try and handle the biggest elephant in the room, the main antagonist herself. So, speaking of all that Sonicverse nonsense of what I saw in the Sonicverse thing on Sonic Prime, we should tackle this really big bad quality. As I know that the Dark Queen usually appears to show herself on the screen of a black background. Whenever she moves her lips up and down, she spits out all of those words in order to make sure that the toads would reach her lair, in order to make sure that her master plan, that the only way to control the universe with her military is that all she cares about is wanting to have sex with the toads? Hang on a minute. Let me get this out of the way. All I'm getting is that the Dark Queen is basically Zit's, Rash, and Pimple's mother, in what I think they stole an idea straight directly from Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, where Vader was claiming to Luke Skywalker to be his father, and it wasn't really true at all. But I understood that the Dark Queen is basically some sort of a pervertedly sex-crazed, sexed-up love child of Rukia Kuchiki from Bleach. If I understand this whole bestiality nonsense of what I can imagine, that this feels like a Sonic fanfiction mixed with Rocky Horror nonsense, I picture that from Bleach and I'd think it's Cool World, but on goddamn freaking steroids. Now, speaking of Cool World, I understand why this game feels like a weird idea of what I can think of. What kind of weird-ass idea of a Sonic fanfiction involving around the Spider-Verse being mixed up with TMNT? You make Spider-Verse and Turtleverse together, and you make this crazy video game. As it feels like I discovered it around, maybe like a decade ago in 2012. It feels like a crazy quality that I could handle it for myself when I don't understand why my mom won't let me buy the Battletoads video game. As I know, it's definitely not what I want to see. I would never show this to my college friends because it's a secret, or even my family members. That's kind of bizarrely twisted to the max. Because this whole game, this fever dream of a video game, it just makes me want to go, what the fuck? It just makes me go feel weird all inside. It's like Joe999 said in his review about Victorious. But despite tackling that big, bad quality, I don't understand why I was banned from, let me get this out of the way. I was banned from watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Austin Powers because my mother told me that I shouldn't buy the Rocky Horror and Austin Powers merchandise as well as their DVDs. And that is not okay for me to handle this one. But with that out of the way, I probably learned something that I could possibly handle the worst case scenario. As I learned my lesson, it's as I want to give the whole franchise mainly something I could imagine. I'd say despite being a fun-filled video game to be around, I understood that despite the help of an anthropomorphic vulture, who is a scientist who helped them battle the Dark Queen time and time again, except for the 2020 reboot, I'd say I'd give this video game just a 7.6 out of 10. As I know, I would give all the other installments like Battletoads and The Ultimate Team and the 2020 reboot of that same name from 1991, all of them are 7.6 out of 10. Because I know the whole franchise is quite crazy to me. As I know, I understood what really grinds my gears, or, I have no idea why I can understand what really grinds my gears. But you know what really grinds my gears? There is something you could never understand why I saw a video game that is not appropriate for children. Yeah, but it's not too bad for me to understand. That's what they always say, smoking! So, with that out of the way, this is me, Sir Camera, signing off. Bye-bye!